Alright, hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host and WWE enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing NXT July 18, 2023 edition, and we are less than 12 days away from the Great American Bash. On this episode of NXT, Dominic Mysterio will challenge for the NXT North American Championship. Los Rosarios will be making their in-ring return, taking on Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier. Not the most eye-catching night of action or the most memorable episode of NXT, but it tried, and it certainly made an effort to build towards the Great American Bash, but kind of came short in that regard. And we'll get into that a little bit more towards the end of this episode. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with Los Rosarios versus Nathan Frazier and Dragon Lee. So, are Los Rosarios done as a team? Well, before we get into that, let's just say that this was overall a great tag team match. Dragon and Frazier keep delivering each week in the ring. It also helped that Los Rosarios were working motivated. This is a team that should be able to get some time on SmackDown or Raw, but for whatever reason just never has. And while it is interesting, and while it is great to see the Rosarios back in action, it's interesting that after their first match, which they lost, that they might break up. But the future here should still be bright for both Angel and Humberto. They are impressive athletes if they stick with NXT, which I'm thinking they do, and they probably should, because they haven't been able to get any time on Raw or SmackDown, as I just mentioned. They can have some really good matches together in the parts, especially doing some one-on-one matches with Dragon Lee. Those could certainly be some great matchups right there. Tony D'Angelo's homecoming. So, Tony D is out of prison, and now him and Stax have turned their attention towards taking the tag team titles from Gallus. And this was a solid segment to put an exclamation point on a solid story. NXT has put 2 months into this, and it paid off. The family is ready to take the titles from Gallus. The storytelling of these teams has been on full display, and the in-ring action should complement the build. This will be a physical brawl where the Don and the underboss find a tactic to overcome Joe Coffey at ringside and secure the victory, winning the titles. Or at least that's the way it seems it is trending. I will admit, Gallus hasn't had quite the lengthy reign or the memorable reign, but when you have a team of momentum behind them like the family does, and the story has been right, sometimes you just gotta go and make that change. Eddie Thorpe versus Mensa. And Thorpe losing this match after his impressive win in NXT Underground last week. Certainly an interesting decision, but he was protected, mainly because Dijak kicked him in the face. And Dijak versus Thorpe is a smart move for both men. That should get Dijak right back on track. He's kind of faded a bit after that last man standing match he had with Ethan Dragunov, but he's back and he's got direction. And Eddie Thorpe is still gonna be a part, still gonna be on TV. He loses this match, but he's got something coming up, but he's not gonna just disappear. Meanwhile, Metaphor starting to regroup as a Sable. Dar selling his deep depression, doing a pretty good job of that, and because of that, it's allowing everybody else in the group to speak for themselves, which certainly helps the stable. And overall, they're doing pretty well for themselves at the moment, especially since Mensa just got a win. I guess we'll see how that angle plays out. Roxanne and Perez and Blair Davenport have a sit-down interview that, Perez ended up walking out on, which, that was a decision. But NXT has a strong story to tell with Perez and Davenport. Their first match didn't really have much of a spark to it, but it sounds like perhaps the Prodigy might bring the physicality in round 2. If so, it could be a show stealer, and it would be an important turning point, and it would be an important turning point in the career of Perez, who can prove herself and get back on track. However, if she comes up short, she might struggle to get back in the title scene anytime soon. Don't get me wrong, she's done well to establish herself as a title contender, but when you're in a non-title feud and you come out on a losing end and you don't look particularly strong coming out of it, it can be tough even as a former champion to try to get yourself back into title contention. People just don't take you seriously. So, in conclusion, this was a bad show. outside of the opening tag team match, every other match was just not good. The best segment was Tony D'Angelo's homecoming. Other than that, NXT tried to take some swings to build stories for the future, but it looks like they struck out. Scripps turned on Axiom, which honestly I don't get that at all. That segment was bad. None of it made any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and does not make me want to tune in next week to see what will happen. Also, Gigi Dolan losing to Keanu James. Honestly, I don't get this feud at all either. Like, I get the story they're trying to tell, but let's be honest, these are two wrestlers that should not be together in a feud because neither one of them are experienced enough to have one carry the other and try to elevate this feud to make it look bad. So the first match was bad, the second match was bad, and Dolan comes out on a losing end again. Did she win the first match? I don't remember. That's the thing about this feud. Not only is it a bad feud, but it's not even memorable. I can't even remember who won the first match. And then you have Dominic Mysterio winning the NXT North American Championship, which was certainly a decision. I mean, Wesley was protected in defeat, but it probably would have been better to end Wesley's reign at Great American Bash by having Mustafa Ali beat him. Nonetheless, it was a great win. It was a great reign that Wesley had. I see people talk about him being the greatest North American champion in NXT history, and yeah, I'll support that argument. He did well. The build to the Great American Bash, well, not really much build to the Great American Bash. NXT certainly should have had the objective of creating more interest in the premium live event, but I don't know if they succeeded in creating extra interest. Carmelo Hayes and Adam Dragunov, well, they tried, but ultimately Hayes is just a step above everybody else on the mic. So Dragunov and Hayes on the mic that's just not going to work. Thea Hale, she's been on a roll lately, and certainly has set herself up for a rematch at Great American Bash in a submission match against Tiffany Stratton. But does anybody actually believe she's going to win? I don't quite see it. It is clear that NXT tried to make a splash this week. The show will be talked about on SmackDown and Raw, given that Dominic Mysterio won the NXT North American title. But to say that it was an entertaining show, well, that would simply be a lie. This was supposed to be 2 hours of entertainment, and instead it was just a waste of 2 hours. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.